Good morning to another exciting day on our Intelligent Industry stage. We will start the day with a panel on the battery cell technology cluster, which Capgemini founded together with Fraunhofer and the University of Aachen. Let me welcome the panelists. First, Professor Dr. Achim Kamke, who is professor at the University of Aachen and leading the Production Engineering and E-Mobility Component Institute. Let me welcome Pierre Magnon, the lead of the Intelligent Industry Accelerator and one of our global experts in Gigafactory. And let me welcome Markus Fiegel, who is director of the CE battery in Capgemini.
Sorry, Lydia.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Very excited to be here and start the day with a topic that we like very much. And Arim, very good to have you. Markus, you're leading the battery CE lab for Capgemini Engineering. Arim, you've been leading research in Europe around electromobility and battery. And we're very happy, and this is something we will be introduced today. We launched the tech cluster at the end of last year, so we'll be able to know a bit more. But a couple of words introduction. Yesterday, as you're sitting here, we had Northvolt, Verkor, PowerCo, who shared the challenges but also ambition they have around their digital journey and how important it will be to accelerate the creation, but also the ramp up of this new industry that we're building up in Europe around the battery cell. They share also the need to build an ecosystem in order to catch up a bit what the Asian has been doing in order to solve some of the challenges around quality, traceability, how to form people. Competitiveness remain an issue, and we know that a lot has been done around the new chemistries, and a lot is probably coming in the next years, but process will be our topics for today. So, Arim, if we maybe start with you, could you tell us a bit more what this tech cluster is about and what is the ambition you have behind as your professor of the University of Aachen?
Yeah, thank you very much. So the starting point for the technology cluster was our own experience and also my personal experience in my industrial past. So we have figured out, as you mentioned already, we have to build up the company or the organization themselves. For example, PowerCo or Northvolt, they have to build up the organization. Then they have to build up the supply chain. Yeah? And then they have to innovate. So 3 very complex tasks when you have only one of these tasks. And therefore, the idea was to bring this make it faster, yeah? To bring competence together, build up a cluster, a network, yeah? Who work in parallel on these 3 topics and give advice, experience, and then the most important point, to be faster. So the starting point was Aachen University and Fraunhofer, as mentioned, together with Capgemini. We come together, and there's also our engineering company integrated there, based on the experience how to make engineering, to understand the process, how you produce a battery, a cell, yeah? Bring this together and then combine others to join in this cluster to have this networking approach. That was the key point.
Right. Turning to you, Markus, looking at Capgemini, so what will be the motivation and the ambition that we nurture around this tech cluster?
First of all, it's in our DNA to bring research and industry together and be at the forefront of innovation. But first of all, it was very tempting to work with a leading university of Aachen, which is excellent research, cutting-edge facilities, very ambitious management with the right mindset to bring and bridge the gap between research and industry. So this is part of the arguments that we had to work in this technology cluster. Our engineering teams are quickly engaged. We can directly approach researchers within Professor Kamka's institute, and we have the ability to directly work with them and also get to know promising startups that come right off that ecosystem of the university. And the ability to work on these research projects commonly also allows to somewhat create an innovation ecosystem that creates additional business opportunities. And the ability to approach the big companies that are all trying to get to the market very fast and with a high quality, and support them with new technology and new approaches. And last but not least, talent development is also a very valuable benefit of this cooperation. We get to know future leaders, and we have the ability to enrich their curriculum with industry-related research. So that's all part of this equation. And specifically in the battery cell production, there are huge potentials to leverage by applying digital tools and establishing consistent data backbones to enable all this development work that has to be done and bridge the gap from product to production.
Okay. Now, Arim, you mentioned it's the complete value chain that eventually we need to build. A lot has been done around the battery cell in terms of investment that are being ramped up, but if we take the perspective of the tech cluster, which type of organization you plan to welcome? Are you looking more at equipment manufacturers, the active components, the battery cell production cells, so the digital players? Who would you expect and would like to have, and what will be the rules of getting in?
Yeah. We want to bring all of them together. So let me explain what we have already. So first, we have the infrastructure in Münster. You have mentioned Fraunhofer. What do we mean by that? It's not every institute. The focus is on the research factory in Münster. We will open it next week, and there we have a basic infrastructure, a fab, a real fab. So the government will invest and have already invested 700 million there, that we have a real factory. So we have all processes, technology and processes there, and we can learn, we can produce data, not only cells, but data. So I think it's very important to have use cases and have this experience. Yeah? Also the experience how we build such a factory. Yeah? That is one part. Then we have already a deep insights in the technology roadmap that brings PEM, the Aachen University in this game, how the technology works, how the process works, and then the engineering competence and the digitalization competence from Capgemini. Yeah? So this is already in. Yeah? So, and what do you need? You need all the equipment suppliers, because it's not only the product, it's an integrated approach. Yeah? Very important, product and process together. Think together, how can we improve, build it up and improve. So we need the equipment supplier. On the other hand, we need all the software vendors, yeah, because it's very important that we use new technologies like AI, for example, or machine learning to improve. Because, for example, China has started 10 years ago with this approach, yeah, and has now a very good position in the market. So we have to figure out what may be USPs. Yeah? And last but not least, we need all the guys who know the product and what the markets want from us. So, and combine these ecosystems. So we are talking about a real ecosystem for the supply chain, for innovation, put all these ingredients together.
Okay, which is indeed quite unique. No one has made this now. Now, you mentioned it, the study, the research has already started. We'll have some publication together. Could you share some of the insights already, the findings that will, by the way, publish soon? And
yeah. So one of our tasks was one white paper, what we have done already together. And the starting point was to figure out what are the challenges. We already discussed it a little bit. It's very, very complex. Then transparency and experience is missing. Yeah? And then you have to innovate. So that is not the best starting point, yeah, we have. But that is a experience we have. And then when you look at the development process, a lot of interfaces are not implemented. A lot of tools are not focused to how we can develop cells, for example. And that we have investigated in this white paper, and then figured out what are the next steps, the tasks, yeah, so that we have something like a standard how we work together in this development process. That we have transparent data, single source of truth, for example, yeah, in this building. And also very important is the simulation validation part, yeah, because there a lot of experience is missing up to now. So you need a lot of testing, and the time frame from the beginning to the point you have a cell is several years. And it's when you look at this, you have this huge investment, and after the 3, 4, 5 years, you have already new innovations in the product. So you have to be much faster. And that was the point from this white paper. We want to step in and help the companies to improve in this business, in this time to market, reduce the time to market significantly.
Clear. Well, talking about simulation, Markus, and your lab has been very active with major OEMs, battery producers. Yeah. That's part of the service you do. Could you explain a bit more, what concretely will be the role today and as you see it tomorrow around the acceleration of process development and product development?
Yeah. We started pretty much with one area of simulation, that is performance simulation, but very quickly figured that there's a missing link to the production side of it. So we were very creative in finding new approaches with the team to close that gap between product design and production, and also make these simulation models and approaches available for the design of the production, because the production pretty much determines the performance of the battery cell, and the best battery cell needs to be produced at scale and still maintain these performance figures. And the secret that we find is to, instead of try and error, be able to simulate what are the right production parameters with these simulation models. And that will enable much faster ramp up of scale production, and also help reduce the scrap rate and everything. So, but it's still a way to go. It's not something that is readily available in the drawer right now. It's a journey, but we are very optimistic that we can close this gap in this environment where we have all the tools available, all the access to data and the hardware, so we can apply the software rightly. So that is a very good environment that we can work in. So I'm very positive on this.
Okay. Turning back to you, Arim, we know that a lot still needs to be done in terms of process to automatize it. The investment that are being made around aging to shorten the cycle time of aging, or dry coating, for example. In your viewpoint, short term, mid term, what will be the major evolution that we should see in the process evolution that will impact the cycle time, the quality, and at the end, the competitiveness of those gigafactories?
Yeah, I suppose there is no one thing that solves all the problems. One example, we have this thermal management, this topic of safety. So it's very critical that the vehicle is safe. Yeah, and one focus there is the thermal management from a battery, the module, and the cell, for example, to make it safe. For that you need validation, simulation, and a deep dive in the models, in the chemistry, to understand how it works, for example. So I think that, for example, is critical. On the other hand, it's also critical to have very cheap batteries. So that will lead to the fact that you have different market approaches. Yeah, for example, LFP or sodium ion will be the solution for cheaper vehicles. Yeah, and when you go to high performance vehicles, you will use other chemistries. So you have a variety of different technologies and chemistries you will have in the future. It's not only one. That make it, again, more complex. Yeah. So I think that will be one of our tasks, how we can manage this complexity. Yeah? So you need the right tools for that. Not only the technology and the hardware, yeah? Bring all these different topics together, yeah? to be better than the competitors in this field. Yeah?
Okay. Maybe as closing remarks, starting with you, Marcus. So, what are the next steps? What should we expect next from the tech cluster?
Well, I can't disclose it right now here on stage, but I would very much, agree to the statements from Mr. Kamka, that we need all these tools and virtualization approaches to able to master the complexity and apply to different chemistry, because nobody knows what the leading technology will be in 3 to 5 years. But we can say if we have the right tools available, we can manage. And so I'm strongly convinced that digital tools and simulation will help shorten time to market and create excellent results in the future.
And Arim, I understand we'll have some opening news coming soon on the prefab. Can you share a bit with us? What we'll be able to
yes, of course. So next week we will have the great opening of Fraunhofer Research Factory in Münster. So all of you are welcome to visit us there. And I think that is a good time then to figure out how we can work together. What are the missing pieces for the different partners, and that is a great chance. On the one hand, we have risks, of course, in this business, but on the other hand, we have a lot of chances, but we have to use our chance, yeah, and to be very fast. So I think that is a crucial point, to be faster, not only to discuss. Yeah, the last 10 years, especially in Europe or Germany, we have a lot of discussions. So, and there we lose a lot of time. Now we have to speed up and show that we are able to bring something on the street. Yeah.
Okay, so with this, well, big thank you from my end, and thank you for what you do, to make this industry a reality in Germany, in Europe. For those that are in Hannover, we'll have a day dedicated today around this tech cluster innovation, so you can join it. And again, thank you from the audience.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think we have some time for questions. Don't run away. I would like to give the audience, if you want to start. I have a question, Sarah. Can I start and then I hand over to you? Professor Kamka, you were talking about an ecosystem which is needed to get this done. So what are the requirements to make the ecosystem work? You need politics, who do you need and what is needed?
Yeah, politics is responsible for framework, but I think we don't need it in this ecosystem. So we need all the companies and the people with they have already experience to bring this together. And I think it's not only one ecosystem. We need different. And I think that is very important, that it's not only one and we have it and nobody else. So when we want to be successful, we need more than one initiative in this part. Yeah? So that is needed to have a good market and a good approach in this business. Yeah.
Okay, hi. Great presentation. Thank you very much. You mentioned during the talk about the idea of shared facilities. You talked about Munster, and you also mentioned the idea of a single data plane, a single source of truth. Okay, I'm just wondering, what's the strategy around IP? Because obviously you've got a lot of startups potentially with quite sensitive IP that they want to inject into the cluster. What's the strategy around protecting that IP versus sharing, some of the data that's coming out of that very interesting process? Yeah.
Yeah, good questions. So I think there are there are two views on this topic. So when you are a company, I think okay, and that is the key problem. So everybody is now starting to produce data and use it and getting experience, but we need this that we discuss this data. So I think that is a role that can Fraunhofer and PEM plays, yeah, in this game. Our task is to share our experience. So of course, when we have a bilateral project, then it's confidential, of course. But this Fraunhofer Research Factory we can use to share this data, this information, and this experience. And I think that is critical. But when you look that nobody else has this approach with a real factory, the focus on production, the focus on several ramp-ups where you can collect data. Yeah? And so it's critical for Europe, I suppose, to share this experience, yeah, and be a part of this ecosystem. And that is the strategy there, to be very open, because based on my experience, when you are open in the case of an institute, you will get a lot of feedback, and so you are faster in the experience. So in this case, it's very good to share, because you will get something back. Yeah?
Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you.